Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Shout out to who's always having very spirited debates. I think when it comes to talk shows, Ramil and Bernard Riley, they might be, in my opinion, the top two. And there's others. I just want to say this, and I want to. We ain't gonna say if I'm gonna be quick. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But let me keep this all the way real. So we, you know, I want to center myself before I have this conversation. I will debate anybody on the nature of policing. I've always kind of low key ignored. It may be the prophet of thought when it comes to debating. I don't give a fuck who you are. I will debate anybody when it comes to policing of black people. I want to say straight up. I understand the common sense of what black men should do as far as standard operating procedures when it comes to dealing with the police force. When I fucking get stopped by the cops, I have my wallet. I didn't always have my registration, but for whatever reason, I may have lost it. But I have my wallet. I have my key out the car, the key out in the dash, wallet in the dash where they can see it. Hands on. This is what I do just to do it, not even because they say North Carolina's crazy or whatever. Hands on the steering wheel, and I think to make that cop as comfortable as possible as a matter of standard operating procedure. And usually I have all my shit ready. And to be fair, I have my fucking passport ready just so that motherfucker can't make think twice about thinking like, oh, well, maybe this nigga is not from here, whatever. I have all that ready. And that's just, I have literally had situations where a cop turns around and I just pull a fuck over because I already know what I was doing if I did it. So as far as how I engage the police, I know how to engage the fucking police. And this wasn't me personally, but I can tell you, somebody that's been an Uber driver, that when I was Uber driving for 3 years, I haven't done it in a while, and I did over 11,000 rides, and I was stopped. Like, I mean, obviously I had 11,000 rides where I was stopped about 11, like basically one per thousand rides. And I can tell you right now, my interactions with the police, I have actually been in a car where white people were in the car and understood how different they immediately code switched when they saw those white folks. And those white folks were deluded, they did not know what was going on. Like they were just in the car. I have literally on more than one occasion, I have seen police creep up behind my car while the other one was talking to me. And once he sees those white folks, dude creep back. I've seen this shit. So this bullshit about you got to be doing something, that's a fucking lie. And shout out to Nick Taylor, because even Nick Taylor has had stories and he's a business owner. It doesn't, the cops have fucking killed undercover police officers. So any of these, look, I understand what it is in the hood. I understand. Hold on, because I'm about to go in real quick. I'm going to get this shit going because this is about to be fun. Because one of the things that a lot of y'all motherfuckers, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I don't mean to be arrogant, it's very few of you niggas that's actually smarter than me. Half the time when you talking to me, the reason why it always seems like I'm talking is because I'm doing like 3 or 4 different fucking things at the same time. Very few of you all have actually had me actually focus 100% on a target, argument and debate. I'm usually splitting my brain, in computers, they call it partitioning. I literally will be in my fucking room. I will have my fucking iMac on. I will have my HP on. I will be watching TV half the time. And then I'm talking to you niggas. Like, really, I am on literally hard drive sleep mode when it comes to me dealing with y'all. It is rare that I've actually even had more than 50% of my processing, my energy focused on a particular target. This is why two things. This is why my voice inflection is always a certain way, because I came from a supervisor customer service background. So it's always like I don't put any effort in my voice inflection. And this is also why it always seems like I'm not stopping when I need to stop. It's because I'm just on autopilot half the damn time. So I just want to make that clear. So motherfuckers think they could debate me. It's always going to end up in y'all cussing at me, hollering at me, calling me a name, because the logic's going to be completely removed. And it's going to be distilled. I'm fucking Count Dooku with you niggas, and none of you niggas are Anakin or Yoda or whatever. And I could give other analogies. That's just what I feel like doing today. I want to make that absolutely clear. I don't give a fuck how old you niggas are either. Because even ones that think that's just what it is. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I've already looked at a lot of the angles that y'all are talking about. I never argue a point from just one angle because I always consider the other side and I take the other side very seriously. So let's keep this real talk on this. First of all, this is what the fuck I'm sick of. I'm sick of black men justifying the murder of other black men. I don't give a flying fuck what they did. How about that? Because when I have seen white boys that have mowed down kindergartners be able to be apprehended, that demonstrates to me of what they can do. And these shootings have happened everywhere in the United States. So it's not just one police department. When you look at what happened in, I think it was Sandy Hook, Florida, if that would have been a black man doing that, that would have been addressed in a completely different way. They knew he was white. And that's why you had cops out here running like they was scared, not wanting to engage because now I get white men get killed by the police too. White folks have to do some extra next level shit to get killed by the police. The idea that unarmed white folks are just getting mowed down that is not something that's happening if you actually look at the years. Now, people always love talking about police, it's not that many people getting killed. What you see is what's actually produced. And the cops do not have a mandate to actually produce information like that. In fact, when the mandates are actually started to being passed, they've done things to rebel against that. Like personally, they don't even falsify the numbers. They outright don't give them up and dare people to come get them. Body cameras, they don't do that. So we always act like, they're going to do what the fuck they're supposed to do as a collective body, which has been proven that they don't. Motherfuckers want to talk about the numbers. We try to talk about like if it doesn't, we don't see it, it doesn't happen. Will Smith said this. He said the only thing that's different is that it's getting filmed. Nothing's changed. This is why even now, motherfuckers are still shooting people or killing people. The reality of the situation, here's a fucking fact for you niggas. You have more black men in fucking jail than China has in fucking prison. You have more black men in prison, not people, black men. And that is a fucking communist goddamn country. America has an insane amount of people in jail compared to other countries, particularly in the Western world. And it has nothing to do with everybody has guns, because the majority of those people are non-violent offenders. Very few people, it's a small percentage of people that's actually in jail for violent crime. And by the way, all of these police presences that's happened, you notice how crime has been incrementally going down, but crime has been incrementally going down across the country regardless of police presence. Even places in Chicago, it is very different than what it was today. And crime was going down before gentrification took off. It's insane. And so when you notice in mixed areas, it's not necessarily the crime is less than in like mainly white areas. So the problem is when you actually look at and see the issue with these arguments, and I'm not talking about one person, so I don't give a fuck. I'm talking about everybody, because it's like I said on my closing thoughts. I get tired of people bringing in other shit. So on the one hand, you got folks that talk about, they basically want to operate on these niggas are crazy, these niggas are savages, they need to be looked at, which is on some next level, because y'all might as well go ahead and put a fucking KKK clan on. Real talk. My thing is, if y'all feel like that, y'all are fucking stupid for living around people like that. And if you tell somebody, Malik was like, oh, well, nigga, where you from? And I'm like, nigga, understand something. I'm not from the hood, but I was born in Compton in the heart of the 80s. Trust me, I've been raided by Bloods. I know what the fuck time it is. But at the same time, if you choose to live in that fucking area, then that's a choice, because a lot of that is class-based issues too. And at the end of the day, I live in the South where there's rural areas where these motherfuckers are doing everything. And in these rural counties, they are not police like that. They are not. And I don't want to fucking hear the argument about they're white, they're not supposed to be. That's a dumb fucking argument. And I will be happily debate somebody on that fucking argument. Because that's code for, that's like justifying black women having a fucking attitude with me. As a man, you are supposed to be respected and you are supposed to enforce your own respect. And it does not fucking matter what happened in the past. This bullshit about, oh, well, white people run the world, that ain't stopping motherfuckers from fucking they bitches. That ain't stopping these. Hell, they women don't even respect them like that. That's why they always cucking their ass. So let's stop getting out of here. And by the way, white people did not always control the planet. And we can even debate to the extent that they do now. Because you got China on the rise. So what the fuck? So this bullshit about like, oh, well, white people need to be, get the fuck out of here. Jewish people don't run, are not planetary controllers, but they will enforce their respect. So it's kind of like on the one hand, people want to talk about you need to build power, but then I mean, this is where culture and education is important. When you sit here and say we need to build power, the same niggas that believe that they deserve to be under somebody is not the same niggas that are gonna pursue power. That is not in the same person. And everybody that you notice in America believe they have a certain ownership in what they do. This is the difference between black men. You would never hear any other race or ethnic group say that, well, we lost, so therefore we should just accept what the fuck happened. Number one, we did not lose anything. We were stolen, we were sold. And yes, there may be something to that there were black Native Americans in America, but that's not all the same shit. We did not have an official war. This isn't like Ghana, where the Ashanti Empire was dismantled over 100 years by white folks. We were stolen, we were sold, period. We did not actually fight an actual war. You want to go back to slavery, black people were rebelling against slavery pretty much the whole time we were here. That's the narrative they tell you about how we just sat there and took it. That's not true. And somebody needs to really start doing a documentary documenting the years of slavery to document all that shit, because that narrative needs to change. This is why they always have had to consistently have their foot on our ass. Same thing with Black Wall Street and shit like that. All these other towns, they've had to, even till this day. So when you look at the police force is the arm of white supremacy. It doesn't matter if it's the North, it doesn't matter if it's the South. Folks make it sound like in the North, motherfuckers ain't getting shot and killed. So at the end of the day, I am more up for debating people with this. Here's my opinion of the police. I believe that black men, I believe that the police is the single biggest terror threat to black men. And they are the single biggest obstacle to black men and power. They're not going to bring the military in here, so the police is the next best thing. There are two threats. There are two obstacles to black men. Getting your bitch under control and getting the cops under control. These are the things that are real and very present. It doesn't fucking matter. Let's remove all the hood niggas, all the savages. Tariq Nasheed lives around white folks, and they got the FBI to put his ass on his stomach over a fucking fake 911 call. Skip Gates is a professor. They have killed undercover cops. It's been a couple of folks that have been arrested trying to do doctors doing stuff for COVID. You got James Blake situation. Let's stop acting like these are isolated incidents, because even though these are incidents we see, these are just things that percolate up to the surface. That's like saying the only lava that exists is the lava that fucking gets out of a fucking volcano. It's a fucking stupid argument. And the problem is the same people that will sit here and say we need to pursue power. It's like people want to pursue power playing the same rules that nobody else is playing. It's playing Monopoly. Oh, the problem is you're not trying hard enough in this Monopoly game. No, everybody's pocketing money. So you do everything. This is why, even though I'm against drug dealing, I've never really held people to deal weed like that, because weed is not some shit that's gonna break a family or some shit. You do everything, and everybody's done it. White folks did it when they were bootlegging alcohol, which the very cars that drive NASCAR are built on today. Don't have a history was my favorite subject. Understand, I'm not gonna say I know everything, but at the end of the day, I know a lot of contextualizations to a lot of things. And a lot of folks are making arguments that don't matter because they get emotionally connected to that argument. Like when people if the argument doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. That's why I tend to not argue certain things, because it doesn't matter to the bigger point. It could go left, it could go right. Talking about, black people were the original people. That doesn't mean shit. You were conquered. The end. Shut the fuck up. Being the original people, yes, they will help with ownership. That will help with your mindset. But the Indians were here too. And well, you know, they're $5 Indians and they're popped up in the reservation. But what is the point to that? The point to that is to understand that if the Indians got reservation, there are things like understand what is possible. And then you not only demand it, you go about getting it. Jewish people didn't dump. Jewish people had to put a lot of shit in together to get Israel. And to be honest with you, Israel only exists because America backs it and because they got nukes. So let's stop acting, let's stop giving people more credit than what they are. But they did put the stuff in together and infiltrate the stuff they needed to get it with information that they had. You know, and so I'm telling you right now, your bitch is your threat. And because they are competing with you even when nobody else is doing something, they're competing with you. I'm talking about black people as a collective group. Women are not on it. Black women, nigga, go look at that April Mason video and that tells you everything about their plans they have for you. Even when they're talking about black love, they're trying to subjugate you. That's a fact. So, and the reality is no matter what you do, if you don't get, it's like saying we're going to win a championship and then you got niggas that want to do J.R. Smith and then throw the ball on the other side. You're never going to get anywhere. What to do with that? I have ideas, but that's not my point. My point is what are the important angles? They are closest to you and they are behind the gates of Troy. That's why it's important to address that. Because they can do more damage to you. The black people had so much stuff done to them. Black culture was not destroyed until the white man got a hold of that black woman and gave them a couple of rinky-dink years of rent. And now black culture is what it is today. So when people try to act like you got to manhood your way out of that, no, you can't manhood your way out of that because they bought into the system as is. So if they bought into the system as is, they actually bought into your place being at the bottom. This is why they only want you for sex and they don't want you for leadership for the most part. Right? And then the second, I would argue, is the police force. The police force touches black men of all class levels or even the threat of their ability to do so, even if they don't. Their ability to do it. The women's ability to call them is a direct reflection of how they act. It's a direct reflection. When you see these motherfuckers just calling the cops on you, that is just as much of the system as it is. We all know if your parents called the cops on you or you saw your parents call cops on a nigga she was fucking or your dad, we know the threat needs to be removed. It's not just them being there. It's not just what they do. It is the ability for them to do so that needs to be eliminated or completely diluted. Part of that is putting more black men in the fucking police system. Part of that is looking actually at what the fuck are they getting paid for. Part of that is understanding the power structure of the fraternal order of police and understanding that that is a goddamn terror group and they need to be treated as such. Our job is to not assume they're good. Their job is to fucking prove it. Also, understanding that most of your DAs and your judicial infrastructure are Democrats, not Republicans in your local municipalities. So when you talk about voting, Klobuchar, all these motherfuckers understanding these motherfuckers are prosecutors. And being a prosecutor is not going to be a great way to get elected anywhere niggas are there. Doesn't matter if black people are whatever class. If you're a prosecutor, you might as well not even try. Kamala, all of y'all. The hell with that. And it's about looking at everything, what's necessary. Because look, man, I'm not against black business. I understand what happened in Nipsey Hussle. I'm not fucking stupid. I'm not fucking stupid. I don't like this fucking looting. But at the end of the day, white folks are looting too. And I'm not justifying anything. But the problem is that's a different type of conversation. Number one, black businesses need to have a new, different type of part of black business owners. I'm talking about local black business owners. Is black folks don't know how to really. Black folks have not always done the best job at public relations. This is what the black church was legitimately supposed to be for. It's like we lack an understanding of how to self-govern ourselves or deal with the elements that are there. This is part of why they dismantled a lot of the bigger crime bosses, because those crime bosses had order. And I'm not justifying it, but they had order, and they made it so everything is on this chaos shit because that's a form of control. And to be fair, they dismantled the mafia too, but they had plans for what to do with those people after the fact. You look at this heroin epidemic and you look at how they're handling that, how they want to talk about police zones, and they want to treat, I mean, not police zones, free drug zones, and treat it like a public health crisis. This was all in 2019. You niggas forget that shit. This was 18 going in 19. And then if I'm gonna hear an answer talking about, well, that's what they supposed to do because they in power. We are all American citizens. That is, we all abide by the Constitution. I'd be damned. Black people have fought for this country harder than any other race other than whites. And I will argue other than whites that have been here from the beginning just as much. That's a fact. And so this thing, I'm not asking for what I know is owed. I'm taking it. I'm not begging. I understand where Ramil is coming from. He's talking about you shouldn't beg, but I'm not begging. I'm telling you, this is what I'm owed. This is why I'm coming to get it. Period. Period. So I'm not begging for shit. I'm not begging for somebody. I'm not begging for a hug. I'm not begging for nothing. It's the way I come and deal with business. I've asked people, you know, have you ever taken something from a white man that they coveted, that they wanted? I have. And I can tell you, you're dealing with a completely different entity when you do that, even if that's somebody that's your friend. They will code switch on you real quick. So I have no problems taking what the fuck I want when it comes to business and when it comes to using my brain, when it comes to anything. The question is, do I really want it? But if I want it, I'm coming to get it. And black men need to carry that posture. You can never have that posture if you have this mentality, this like black conservative mentality of you deserve what you're dealing with. Like, I don't even understand how that can even come out of somebody's mouth. The reality of the situation, this is what a lot of black men think when it comes to their own women. They think on some, I keep telling you niggas about this, ego versus guilt. They believe that they deserve it at some fundamental level. And that's why they accept it. I just did a video like an hour and a half ago talking about desire, wanting to be desired. They believe that it is worth it to chase a woman's desire and favor to the end of the earth, rather than saying, okay, leave that bitch where she lay and you deal with who wants to deal with you. And you become the man they regret. And it's not even because you're mad. It's just because that's what it is, because that's what you do. You move forward while they stay on their own shit. So as far as coming back seriously to the police force, understand, like shit, shout out to Charles Faulkner. I mean, I get it. But what I'm saying is, you know, is this. Damn that. It's time. Them cops don't have a healthy enough fear for people. They don't in America. And I don't give a fuck, especially as much guns with. I don't give a damn. It's time. Damn guns. The pain. Black people, if you really want, okay, so what somebody would say, what's the solution? What's the solution? Okay. I'm talking a lot of shit right now. Let me tell you what the fucking solution is. Number one, you primary every Democrat you can. You let them know we voted for your ass, and this shit is happening in local cities. I get that Candace Owens, Anthony Brown Logan, Republicans love saying that shit. It doesn't mean they're wrong, though. Black people have single-handedly kept Democrats in cities. You would have a lot more Republican mayors and a lot more Republican council members if it wasn't for black people blindly voting for Democrats. That's over. Now, we'll deal with the Republicans in a second as far as talking about what is demanded. But it needs to be first understood that we will vote you motherfuckers out. We can and we will. And I'm not talking fuck voting. I'm talking about pay. We're not going to just vote. We are going to get people that we know, that we develop, and actually fund their campaigns. It doesn't cost that much, even in the bigger cities. Because at the end of the day, what you deal with locally is this is where this stuff is hitting you. And anybody that says, I don't vote, you're a dumbass and you deserve to be oppressed. Now I'll get like Ramil. If you don't vote and you don't put money up for what you want and you don't pay attention to this, you deserve to get it because you're an idiot. Understand that when it comes to child support court, all of that, all of it. So if you're going to argue whether you should do it, now, am I saying, now, if you're going to put, say, okay, fuck voting, but I'm gonna put money up, then okay, you can vote more. Your money is worth more than your vote, actually. But votes need to come too. Stop being lazy. But another thing is black people need to stop just I'm not talking about just voting. I'm talking about voting where you vote, paying attention to who's there, not only paying attention, putting people up there, removing the people you need to remove, putting the people in there you need to put in. And these are in local municipalities. These are not fucking we're not talking about state shit yet. Then you need to pay. Black folks need to start, black men need to start fucking paying. Secondly, I have been look, let's be clear here on how I feel about the police. You know, I have been stopped with no fucking insurance before by white cops and been let go. You know, I have had black cops come to my door after my dumbass brother, you know, my younger brother, pretty much looking for my brother because he let's just say he stole something from somebody and he did that shit. And then he said, look, man, I just want to get him to get the back. This is a detective. And then against my better judgment, I gave him my brother's information and he got it from him. And my brother, and nothing happened to my brother. He didn't write it up. He got it back. So I understand that there's good police. I just said, I personally believe 90% of the police are good. I said that on what's called. When the dude that was being pro-police said 30. Only he said 70% were good. I understand what these police officers have to deal with the culture of the cops, the infrastructure, but that's why you have to wreck that shit. I'm telling you right now, damn the police force. Black people should put their eye target on the police unions. Black people need to understand who is every union boss, their history, all of it. Because that fraternal order shit is the shit that's a real problem. And I personally believe if you remove that from the equation, just like how these corporations systematically destroyed unions over time, remember, I can argue that Ford pretty much made shitty cars to basically kill the value of Ford. So when they came for that bailout, they'd have to remove their obligations to pay those unions. Now, I'm not for not paying cops because I understand that putting your life on the line matters. But what I'm saying is it's going to be the right ones, black, white, or otherwise. Being a cop is now obviously it depends on what city. If you're in Baltimore, I get that. You know, we're not talking about suburban towns. I understand that. I understand the risk factor. But we have black people are like a very strong percentage of the military per our population. So don't say we don't have people that can do these jobs. These jobs should be a go-to. Black men, but see, it doesn't matter how many cops you have if you have that corrupt system. This is why you got these female chiefs and shit ain't changing. It shouldn't be on the cop. I'm gonna tell you this right now, and I'm gonna tell you this to all you, to black folks, whether they're well-to-do or not well-to-do. It is not the cop's job to reform the police from the inside. It is your job to wreck these goddamn politicians and to fucking reach your ass in there and rip the fuck out. Fuck the cops that are shooting people. You rip the cops out that are doing too many tickets, that are overtaxing. Because that's where it's hitting a lot of other people. And that's some shit they're directed to do by the politicians, council members, all of it. You sue their ass to bankruptcy as far as the states, and you pretty much press. And you notice how everything I'm saying is not so much the cops, it's around the cops. Because all they're doing is following orders and following certain things that they're said they can get away with. That's what you do. And I don't want to hear any niggas telling me that black men are savage. Nigga, you don't live with them. Because those are the same niggas as to why Joe Biden created the crime bill. Because of motherfuckers crying the crack era, and then now everybody's getting locked up. So now the people they targeted were people that are possessing things and not necessarily dealing shit, even though I get the 3-strike laws. It's time to have a real conversation, not no talking around the shit. It's time to seriously say, take control. How the fuck you got South Fulton and bitches? You got all these black female judges, but niggas are still getting locked the fuck up. You got how many black men have gotten out of jail off of false shit? And that's not just the cops. That's the whole system up and down. I always have told you, white supremacy exists. We make it way too easy for that shit to run. And I will submit to you that it doesn't take as much as you think. BGS said it. White supremacy is already over. They're already race mixing. They gotta bring you in to some extent. It's being more about class. Black men need to start pulling up, getting lawyers. And when I say getting lawyers, I mean get co-op lawyers. Every black man should have, like, for real. I'm deadly serious because understand, we're not having a conversation about white people tasing people or whooping ass. We're talking about death. And death is only the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, I care a lot more about over the excessive fines that black people got to deal with. Because a lot of black people deal with that shit. And that shit is directed by the counties. It's time to understand where the fuck you are from a county down and stop wanting to just bring this shit up. Dude, I'm going to keep it real. And I'm going to tell Ramil Sam, no, I haven't seen the Atlanta video. You know why? Because I personally don't give a shit. Another person got killed. Maybe they deserved it, maybe they didn't. But now you got situations, we were arguing this same shit for, even when motherfuckers are not cops. Remember, Zimmerman was not a cop. Remember, the dude that killed Arbery, they were not cops. And getting charged, fuck getting charged, it should be already that they're done. So at the end of the day, we know this is not just a police thing. This is a mentality. And it's time to handle that shit. And either you're going to handle it or you're not. Because I don't, people are talking about, well, what are black police doing? Man, they're already knee deep in it. They can only do as much. Okay, let me say it just like this. I'm not all for Black Lives Matter and all that bullshit, because I already know on a higher level what the fuck that shit's really about. But think about this. Think about how these athletes are now remember the Kaepernick shit? I remember the arguments that folks had. Kaepernick has done some suspect shit since then. So I'm not about to throw them folks on there, but I do disagree with the shit they were trying to say he couldn't play in the league. I thought that was just some bullshit. But I remember this shit. And now look at now. This is not about me saying they were wrong and I'm right. This is about me saying that a lot of the you look at how the dynamic changed. Look at how, you know, all these athletes are now, some of them, Kyrie, even though I think he may have a hidden agenda to fuck LeBron up, but there's other people that are talking about not playing. And they're serious about that shit. Not playing. You know, because they think, oh, it'll hurt the cause. These niggas would have never said that shit. LeBron had said something here and there with Tamir Rice. Tamir Rice, say what you want to say about Floyd. Tamir was 12. Remember that shit. I'm not saying that, oh, well, this is a sea change and this is different. What I'm saying is understand those people move at the speed of the ground. Shout out to Dave Chappelle on 846. And no, it is never an exceptional reason to loot. I personally believe in economic punishment. Perfect example is what black women did to the dude that owned Shea Moisture. I think they overreacted, but that's an example of what that is. Starbucks wants to play the LGBT game. Okay, let that be an LGBT company. No black person should be buying Starbucks. Fuck that. Y'all got other coffee companies. To hell with that. There's network marketing companies that sell coffee. Motherfuckers need to be saying, fuck you. We need to be punishing people. Same thing with Jordans. All of that. Same thing with even look, fuck Jay-Z, but even Jay-Z did that when he said, fuck Cristal. He said, you don't want it, we'll do our own shit. We got to start doing that. And I'm not even going to get into if you want to loot shit, strategically looting shit, because I don't think you should do that. But niggas ain't even doing that. So I know y'all are randomly doing stuff. Don't loot a business, sit in front of that motherfucker and say, this is not black owned, don't go there, period. And if you go there, you support killing George Floyd. That's how you do it. That's how I think you should do it. So I want to be clear about that. Rioting, I'm generally not for rioting, but there's a time, I agree with what Dave Chappelle said. Shit's been going on too long. And the rioting that's going on is nothing compared to what happened in the past. And motherfuckers were dying versus Rodney King just got his ass whooped, which is a different thing. Keep in mind, we're not talking about black men getting their ass whooped. And the way you hear these cops, a lot of, some of them, they're separated, but some of them are arrogant. Like when you see what happened in that Congress person, I think Bobby Russ, but they was laying down. This is the opportunity for the cops has been waiting, because it's like, I got to deal with these people every day, but now the sea has changed. But you got to go all the way. It can't be no Democrats are taking a fucking knee. I say, bitch, kiss my ass. You want to do something, you need to remove yourself from speaker. That fuck that knee, fuck that. I don't even know what the fuck that scarf is that you're doing. Fuck you, fuck Schumer. I don't want to hear it. I don't see that much of a difference between you and McConnell. Damn that. Y'all the same motherfucker. Even Harry Reid, like Harry Reid wasn't my favorite person, but I got way more respect for Harry Reid. Damn that. It's time to start targeting people. Eliminate the Democratic Party just to let them know. I don't fuck the Republicans. But what I'm saying is a message has to be sent. That is not on black police officers to save your ass. That is on you to do it. And I'm talking particularly to black men. So when y'all come in here saying that voting don't matter, this don't matter, and it's this, then just understand that you're voting for them to fuck with your ass. Just understand that if you don't know who your politicians are and you ain't putting money up for it, we should be talking about politicians like we talking about goddamn basketball players that are in college or in high school. I knew who Kamala Harris was before she became DA. I knew who Cory Booker was when he was running for mayor. You got to know who these niggas are coming up. And that way they know if they try it, they not going to redefine nothing. That's why I was talking about that Kamala Harris. And Charles will tell you, I was talking about why aren't nobody talking about Kamala Harris. I said that years ago. Before she even got the state attorney general. Damn that. You know, look at Gayle King. This had nothing to do with police, but Gayle King is out here, the bitch shit she did and what they did to Snoop, and now she trying to act like, she also a pro. Now, fuck that ADD bullshit. And this is why, and this is the point of these arguments. But my thing is, I don't want to hear you niggas, like, dude, it's common sense that police have to be there. And I'm all for paying police. And I'm not, and look, if you got to do what you got to do, you motherfuckers act like black people are always jumping up every time a black person gets shot by the cops. That's not true. And we need to stop acting like black people are doing that. Yeah, there's a difference between having a conversation and like Dave Chappelle said, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And you got you niggas talk about black business ownership and all of that. It's like some kind of fucking excuse to try to protect them. Them motherfuckers are just as likely to tax your ass and fuck your shit up as a fucking thug is. You better kiss my ass with that shit. And the only time these arguments come, I'm willing to have this talk every fucking day. Fuck when somebody gets shot. It shouldn't take when somebody gets shot to talk about this. Because this is the police are a problem even when motherfuckers ain't getting shot because what I said about the taxation shit. And the police are being directed to do that. These cops have demonstrated it's not training. They know how. They know how to not do this. You've seen this. It's too much. The 2010s, black presidents, still the shit. The 2010s, and shout out to Dave Chappelle for bringing up that police officer, I forget what his name is, in the LAPD and what happened. And why that happened. He was a cop. The shit in Dallas, where they had to put a remote control bomb in there. Understand that at the end of it, and again, black people have their own shit they got to deal with amongst each other. I get that. But understand that a lot of that shit is a gynocratic problem. A lot of that shit, I'm not blaming nobody for it, but a lot of that shit is bitches sanctioning it, and a lot of that shit is dudes going along with that shit. You want to call the police because a man smacked your ass, but you own the house and he in your house. Police are not there to regulate niggas. If you want them there, then you pretty much there, you cool with what he does. And obviously the law doesn't work that way, but you get what I'm saying. When you look at, shout out to Aaron Ferris. I got to do a stream with him of culture versus education. When you look at how people do shit everywhere in the planet, crime has been going down. So how the fuck is crime going down, but they're getting military grade shit? And y'all want to talk about police presence. Okay, there's a difference between police presence and the shit they're doing. Counties, and that's all, and you can look up articles. Counties are using the cops in order to furlough their county budgets. So they say, we're just going to tax black people more. That's a hidden tax. And then, so when anybody says you deserve something, Ramil, I will never agree with that. And I hate when black people say that shit. You deserve something because you lost a war. You tell that to them Arabs. And you tell that to them. And what the fuck they do when they bring their ass over here. You know what, fuck that. You tell that to the Irish and the Irish Republican Army in the 80s. own, like that is this telling somebody that they lost so they deserve when we are American citizens. Remember, I agree with this with BGS. Black people are a created class. What Top Cats is saying is not 100% correct, even though there's something to what he's saying. What the shit is that we all just came from Africa is not 100% correct either. Because the least amount of slaves actually came here, but that genetic pool was used to create our class. We are a created class of people. That's why we're a people without a country other than this country. This is why when dudes always talk about going overseas and that's the only solution, I never agree with that. Because they are saying some shit based on emotion. At the end of the day, I am cool with debating this shit. Fuck that. I would debate this with any of you niggas, including cops. Because I'm not on this emotional, I hate the police shit. I'm on it. There needs to be a redefinition of what it is. And that shit is going to work for some people, and that shit ain't going to work for other people as far as cops. For real. I'm not for, oh, well, you know, there at least be a couple of police. No, but what I am saying is there's different ways of doing this shit than what gets done. There is. Like when I see all the murders that happen in the black community, but it's the minimum amount of people that are actually in jail that are black or actual people that commit murders. I don't want to hear about that no snitch policy. That shit is not as strong as it used to be. It's not. And at the end of the day, there's ways, just like how there's ways of dismantling gangbangers and dismantling drug rings, there's ways of actually reaching past that no snitch policy. There are ways of doing that. There are ways of breaking people from that shit when it comes to murderers. But the priority needs to be on that, not on drug possession. Anybody that's in jail for drug possession, I believe 80% of those folks need to be let out. Because I believe they're personally, they're political prisoners in my book. Especially with weed. I said that before weed was legal, and I damn sure say that now in states that are illegal. But that's like a conversation that is left to be had in the orbit. So when black people get mad, they can try to lump that in some police reform. Fuck that police reform bill. You remove them from office. I'm not just talking about cops. I'm talking about politicians because they're the real problem. The cops, at the end of the day, can be handled if you have the right people in there to do it. So that's even a misdirection of the conversation. We even look at the cops. And I'm telling you, you need to deal with those damn unions too. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I get tired of niggas always popping up, talking about, and yeah, David, I am going to say this with you too. I'm tired of niggas popping up, talking about what somebody could have did with the police, justifying the killing of a black man. I'm never going to justify a black man killing another, murdering, because there's a difference between killing and murdering. And I'm not going to justify a cop doing it. And that's just off gates. I'm not. You got rubber bullets. If that dude wasn't armed, I don't want to hear it. If that man was not armed, I don't want to hear what happened. Because cops know how to have overwhelming force, and they often do it. I don't want to hear it. I don't. I really don't. And I'm tired because y'all don't understand that you all are low-key justifying motherfuckers fucking with you for what reason, I don't know. And I do, dude, I understand the business owner side of it, but that's a bullshit talking point on its own. Because the reality of the situation is if you feel that way, then don't open your business in the black community. How about that? Because that don't stop Target, that don't stop Walmart from opening shit. So you don't have to. There's other people that will. Because that don't stop these immigrants from doing it. So I get tired of that bullshit. But anyway, see what the fuck y'all got to say. Yeah, what's up, Charles? Well, I was born there. I was born there in 1986. I left in 1990. I was there, and I was raised in Chicago for half of my life, and I've been here. My whole family's technically from Chicago, by way of Missouri, as far as grandparents and their parents came to Chicago from Missouri years ago. That's not the same thing. This is not about me sitting here saying emotional, do this. I'm saying it needs to be redefined. Just like I'm talking about this, just like how I would talk about how the public education system needs to be redefined. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things like data entry. I'm talking about the ability to understand what they're doing and why, not just to harm cops, but to all, and not mainly to do it, but to basically help them do their job easier. To know what type of technology is needed, what is needed to be done to actually really get this shit in alignment. But see, the problem is, and this is beyond the cops. America wants the country to be this way. This is not just something that's just at the police level. See, you notice I'm not just talking about their level. All right, appreciate that, Roastmaster. Appreciate the $20 cash app. I agree, Charles. Black culture was destroyed in the 80s. And I'm curious as what Charles's thoughts on black culture was destroyed in the 80s because cocaine was dumped in there. Yes, black people made crack, but cocaine was dumped in there. And in the 90s, aka 1994, when the crime bill was created by Joe Biden and other senators, because Bernie Sanders voted for that, all these old motherfuckers. When you had savings and loan scandal going on too, FYI, it was also black people that helped push for that to get created because they wanted to complain about the crime from the 80s. And to be fair, Maxine Waters brought up that it was a coerced effort by Oliver North and to put to sacrifice black communities. And I was born out of that era. So we need to tell the whole truth. And the whole truth is this shit has affected black men, and a lot of black people in the community take cops off the table about it, have blood on their hands. But this is the type of shit that they don't want to talk about. This is that gynocratic bullshit. Then when you understand the 70s with feminism and in the 80s where women were coercing dudes to actually sell dope, or they were using they were using sexual politicking in order to choose those men and promote those men. Now they want to talk about Blackistan. Tell the whole fucking truth. But you got too many niggas that are too bitch made. And when I say niggas, I'm talking about dudes that deny the gynocracy. Now that's who I'm talking about. Not the cop shit, but the gynocracy deniers. They're too bitch made because they can't even handle their women. Yet they want to talk about going after a white man. You know who you are. You pro-black. You know who you are that's in that category. Yeah, okay, so Charles agrees. But I'm telling you, that is the problem. That's that all that bullshit, that brotherhood shit that goes past all, that's it right there. And you never hear nobody talk about the fraternal order of police. Ever. You notice that's never in the conversation. No, now I'm talking about black people. And that's how you know they not really serious about really jamming that shit. I'm talking about leaders. I'm talking about really dealing with it. I'm not talking about getting emotional and punishing people, even people that were like, I'm not talking about people that are there and watch they do that for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, but I'm talking about, I get it. Black people, oh, well, why don't cops just go in there and just check out the cops? Because they're going to get checked. The shit that happened with, I forget what the dude's name, but the dude that was in LA that shot up a whole bunch of people, the cop, that's what happened. So I'm not unreasonable because I'm not having this from an emotional standpoint. But I'm not tired of fucking that justification bullshit. Sick of that shit. Well, Charles, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying about the union, yes, you probably can eliminate it, but here's the thing: that should not be a goal. They should understand that that's what black people intend to do: remove it. And if they don't remove it, we're gonna do everything we can. The auto industry didn't remove the union, but guess what? They fucked that shit up. And well, white people are like, oh, I don't want to be a cop. Fuck you. You don't have to be one. We'll put people in there that want to be one. And then we'll raise that shit once you're gone. I quit. Quit, motherfucker. Quit. So we can put people in there that want to be in there. Anyway, I'm calling it the police force because it is a police force. I don't want to call it the police terror group. So I'm going to call it the police force. Because for us, it's force. So I'm going to call it the police force. It's a police department for white folks. It's a police force for us. Yeah, you do that by targeting the politicians. Charles, I'll tell you what. No, I can't make a panel right now, but I will. I will do a panel. And if you want to be in it, if you want to get BGS, we get you. We get a couple of people, like just you, and like maybe BGS or one other person that will actually contribute. Then we could do that. I will do that. We could do that Wednesday. I will do that. The reason why I'm doing this is because I was on Ramil shit, and it is what it is. It is what it is. No, absolutely, the military is different than the police. Yeah, yeah, Chris Dorner. And I don't justify what he did, but at the end of the day, I understand. And at the end of the day, if you two want to fuck my shit up because I said it, then fuck them. Charles says, police are held accountable with the Fraternal Order of Police. Now, if you want to assume that, it's on you. In the military, you have certain rights and protections, such as JAG lawyers and tribunals. Every profession has. I understand that, Charles. But Charles, this is why I need you to understand that. I'm gonna read mainly your comments because obviously you're a police officer. Here's the thing I need you to understand. Here's the thing I need you to understand. Black people, if black people are going to compete for power, you have to look at everything that is a threat, that is basically uh fucking with our power. A lot of that is us. And you hear me, you don't hear me talk about the cops, you hear me talk about sisters, because that's really where it starts. Then, but also, this is another thing that touches us. At the end of the day, I've already said 90% of police officers are perfectly fine. I already said that. I'm talking about that fucking 10%. And I'm looking at why is that 10% able to exist to the extent that they are? Because there's a different way how police were looked at pre 9/11 versus post 9/11. And that needs to change. I mean, all this bullshit that's had to happen should not have had to happen. And so that's all I'm saying. Well, I mean, so I'm telling you, so what I'm saying is, I think the issue is that we have to stop letting these things happen. And then folks are just having this overreaction. And really, the overreaction is a method of control. This is why, even though I have my opinions on it, I haven't reacted. Because at the end of the day, a big reason why it's not changing is because I don't think people are pressing the proper buttons or going after the proper things they need to go after. And notice how I've pretty much been talking about politicians just as much, because the Democratic Party is just as part of this. Most of these prosecutors in your local municipality are Democrats. I don't know why y'all folks are acting like they're Republicans, or So and these are be the same prosecutors that then will try to get to national office, and you just now started seeing them get checked. Charles says you have to realize one thing. Police are already held accountable for many things. We're held accountable for things people don't even know. Because this is the police department is held account, and police commissioner or chief, the top FOP give you lawyers, because why? Anybody can complain about you even if you do everything correct. You know what? I get that, but Charles, I'm not talking about two things that I'm talking about is police violence, and I'm talking about taxation. The taxation is not really a police problem. They're just the ones that administer it. That's a political problem. That's the main reason why I'm bringing the politicians as far as local, because that's where that issue is. That's the game. Stop and frisk was administered by the police, but it was a Bloomberg policy, city council, and that's why I'm glad his ass looked like a fucking fool when he tried to run for office. So I understand that difference, and I understand that police are not making up their own rules and going along. I understand that this is why, if you notice, nothing I said is really talking about going directly at police officers. It's going after the infrastructure that dictates to what they do. And Charles said, let's look at the fact. I have more than 18 complaints in 13 years. Number one, let's take an accountability of who's complaining at what, and if their complaining is valid. When I'm talking about taxation, I'm talking about the excessive fining in a lot of municipalities on black people or poor populations in order to shore up county coffers. That is administered by the police, but that is not the police that creates that. That is what they are directed to do. This is an example of me talking about the politicians. Get what you're saying, and that is a problem. Black men do need to join the police department, but the culture of the police department has to be addressed as well. And there's no reason why black men should not be joining the police department, particularly in certain professions and military brigades. You're absolutely right. So this is not me saying, the reason why I even did this even initial video was predicated on a conversation that Ramil, Fantastic, and others had. I wish you would have been a part of it because you would have been able to give a good perspective. And basically, a lot of them were on basically, it's niggas' fault. Niggas need to stop being niggas and they won't get killed. Because apparently that's the only time that you get fucked with is when you acting like a nigga. And I'm getting tired of that excuse. And it's time for folks to really consistently, not just when somebody gets shot, but consistently eliminate that argument. But see, that requires, and that's on black people if they're going to do that or not. There may be no quotas where you're at, but there's hidden quotas. I know they would talk about this shit where I live. So maybe where you at, there ain't no quotas, but there are certain municipalities. It's not going to be an official law. It's unspoken. If you pull up any statistics on what areas are heavily fined and shit, you can obviously look at that shit and see that shit. Just because they don't put it on paper doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And what I'm saying is everything needs to be looked at. Seriously looked at. So, and keep in mind, think about it. Me talking about over quoted or like over, and see, I almost want to get away from the black police killing shit. Because when you talk about police killing, that creates a hyper argument. That's almost like talking about rape, kind of. And it creates a situation where everybody's getting overly emotional versus if you look at, okay, this is what happens. Okay, I already made it clear that police are, if they do quotas, they're only doing what they're administered to do based on what they're directed by politicians. So that's actually me low-key not blaming police for that. I'm basically saying everything black people need to take. Basically, the main thing of this video is this. Black people need to take there is no excuse why you will have the majority population in a city. I'm particularly talking about Philly, but other cities or municipalities. And it's like when I say you all, I'm talking about black men in particular, are not aware of your environment and aware of where the control mechanisms are. We got to stop just going along with shit. We got to stop doing that. And that's a big part why a lot of this shit is able to happen like it is able to happen. So it's really time to get serious about that and stop saying that's just the way the shit is type of bullshit. The thing is, stop fucking waiting for a cop to do something and then motherfuckers want to then loot, riot and shit and start actually consistently putting foot to ass. And when I say that, I'm talking to politicians. Well, tickets the only way they get you. But whatever. We can have that conversation. Anyway, Charles, absolutely. Like, I have no problem. Like I said, this was actually a spur of the moment thing. But no, we can definitely have that conversation. You know, maybe you pop it up on Art of Idmore's. I'll reach out to him. Bernard Riley, I might do my own thing. I might do one for maybe an hour and a half, maybe Monday or Tuesday. But no, I'm not letting this go because I want to have a full-on conversation. I would definitely like you to be on somebody that is a police officer. Absolutely. Because, you know, I'm talking about, because there's a lot of things spread. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. So with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.